Hey everybody, welcome to the Sex Actually podcast. The SAP, it's your boy Dave Neal with Tasha Courtney and
Hello.
Lee Syatt.
Hello.
Thank you so much
Welcome.
for being on the show. Lee's one of our more sought after guests.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I feel so bad. We've been trying to do it for a while.
I know, but here's my thing. When I'm booking guests, like I'll text a couple times, and it's always like not either last minute or whatever. It doesn't work out. I'll wait 3 months. It's like kind of like trying to get laid. It's the same. Like you don't want to overdo it, but you know,
Well, you
try to fuck you, Lee.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're very smooth, and you got me into your house and your bedroom, and
That's how it starts. This isn't even connected to anything. Half the
We're not
time I'm
recording.
doing stand up with Lee in the audience, I just talk about wanting to blow him. I don't know what it is. I don't do that with other people, Lee. I started doing that before I even knew you.
I'm blushing. I don't know what's in this water, but your dog's
No,
very
but one
nice.
time I was on stage talking about wanting to blow you, and then I found out afterwards, I was like, who's the new lady doing comedy? Your mom was in the audience.
I forgot about.
You brought your mom to an
no.
open mic.
I know. Yeah, my mom. She likes to be involved. Like even she wants to come back, and she's like, "Let's go to the fourth wall." I'm like, I'm talking about some stuff I don't really want you to know about, but
And it's known as
find
such a
out.
place that's so, say whatever that you want, throw shit at the wall type of place. And a lot of times it has a bad rap.
That's
as
like when your mom starts to follow you on Facebook.
that's why
Or
I don't
like
use Facebook
Instagram.
anymore. I can't use Facebook anymore because my parents and like family members are on there, and then because of like the podcast that I'm on. I mean, I'm sure you deal with a lot worse, but I deal with like people call me like the Christ killer. They talk about me
What?
not wanting to eat
well, your boss,
ass.
technically.
Yeah. So like I can't have my family members seeing that, so I just kind of abandoned Facebook.
Or do you come from a family, because your mom seems pretty cool, but like, are you a family that's doesn't, like, do you, like, is swearing in front of each other a
No.
problem?
My mom wouldn't let me say crap.
Really?
My mom's.
But
my
then she
mom-
comes to an open mic?
Yeah, she's supportive of me, but she doesn't like she when we were growing up, she would say like the only people who got tattoos are sailors and criminals. Like she's from like
My mom
old
still kind of
school-
feels that
Oh,
way.
my mom
And
feels
then
that
she
way.
comes out to the West Coast and like everyone has tattoos and she
Yeah.
just doesn't get it.
No, my mom doesn't get it.
But
either.
Tasha's mom follows us on social media, and you know how it is. Where
yeah,
like,
she's being supportive. She's
yeah,
like, I
she's
love
being
you, but
supportive, but then like Tasha posted a photo of herself like naked on a horse, implied nudity. But Tasha's mom posted the what's it called, the googly eyed emoji.
boy.
Where they're like, hello.
You know? I was like, what a passive aggressive way for your mom to be like, don't be a whore, Tasha.
No, she said something. I had like a side boob pictured too, and she said something about it. And my brother was in the car. I was like last summer, and I was home for maybe my brother's graduation or something. And my mom was scrolling, and then my picture with side boob pops up, and she was like, "Oh my God, Tasha!" And my brother said, "What did he say?"
I don't know.
It's 2019, Mom. Free the nipple.
Jeez. Well, at least your brother's like that's like I deal with some craziness, but people like it's mainly like inside jokes on the podcast. I can't imagine like you're professionally trying to be good looking on. It's like the guy like I can't imagine the comments you get. The comments in the DMs must just be
Well, Tasha's
Yeah, luckily
terrible.
it's like it all goes to the like other inbox,
yeah.
so I can like choose when I want to look, which is not very often.
But for
Yeah.
you, Lee, because you produce and co-host the Church of What's Happening Now, Joey
Yes,
Diaz's
sir.
podcast, which Joey Diaz, for our listeners who some listeners aren't really aren't in the comedy world that we're in.
How
but
dare you?
I know, right? Like, what are you guys doing? But like, Joey's probably, in a lot of high up circles, considered one of the funniest comedians alive. You know what I mean? Like, easy, one of the funniest, but also like natural storytellers and like super honest, like depraved kind of like vile humor, but not in like for the sake of being vile. Just like some of his situations, I feel like he's been in are just like, it's amazing listening to it, how open and honest people can be. You know what I mean? It's like liberating. Were you now when you got started with him? Were you just shocked by that? Like, because
I'm still shocked by a lot of what he says. Yeah.
because you're from outside Boston, right?
Yeah.
Like New England, there's that kind of guilt of just like that Puritan upbringing where you just kind of purse your lips and don't say what you really mean. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I just kind of grew up. I mean, it's called Sudbury. It's near. Where are you from?
Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's probably the same thing. It's just like, it's not even that I was ashamed of it, but it's like I didn't really grow up like the kids I grew up with are the kids who wear like the khakis with like the pink polos.
I feel like that's your people. I
Yeah.
feel like that was you. I
I
feel
mean,
like
if-
when I see high school pictures of you, you're wearing like
We're
a
from
pink
probably
polo
not 40
with
miles
a
away.
popped
It's all
collar.
yeah, pretty much. I was just a dork, so I didn't do that stuff. But yeah, it's just and I'm sure kids were doing it, but the worst I heard about was like drinking and weed. I don't know anybody who's doing like coke. Like
Well,
I'm sure there was,
even
but
sex was like, I didn't know there weren't many stories of people fucking in high school, which is crazy because people are fucking in high school. But like I was so far removed. I wasn't even like wait till marriage. I was just by the time I got around to thinking I should be getting laid, it takes guys years from that point to get laid, just because like then you got to do the work of like figuring out how to even do it.
I didn't lose my virginity to college. I was 20.
Me too. Well, I was a sophomore in college.
Yeah.
I mean, could you even imagine? This is something Tasha just will never understand. Women can always talk about how like you'll never know what it's like to be a woman. You'll never know what it's like for a guy to have sex and think, wow, somebody thinks they should be having sex with me right now. It's like a common feeling I think all men
look at you.
have.
You're a beautiful man. I'm sure you threw them away.
I was so surprised that someone agreed to have sex with me.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's like you don't until you start having sex. It's just something you're like you just don't even think. It's because it's such like a. It's like because in high school there's always an older guy. There's always women with the older guy. There's always that older guy. And
That's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to be like the older guy with like the but
you must
I just
get
turned
like
30. Like I can't. Like what's too young? Like you guys have been together for a while, so it doesn't really apply to you. But like
to you half your age plus 7, so 23. Look at that.
Yeah,
skills.
I think that's about
22.
right.
That makes you 20. You can fuck a 22-year-old
because like I've been single for about a year and a half, and I got onto all the apps and stuff.
Well, this is exciting.
Like 18-year-old, I can't.
But like, who made up half your age plus 7? I've never heard of that in my entire life.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely. You take a 50-year-old, they can go 32. I mean, it actually makes. But then if you have a 20-year-old, you can't go. Well, a 17-year-old. That kind of even makes sense. In a lot of circumstances, a 20-year-old,
as long as it's legal, yeah,
can legally have sex with someone over 16. I don't want to get into the whole thing. Every state. Why is every state different? You know, there's people that literally have been charged with rape in one state, and in another state it's not. You know what I mean?
If it's
the
like,
fuck's the matter?
If you have to look up the laws, it's
yeah, like if
it's a little too young.
Yeah,
but it's weird because especially around here, like I went and got headshots taken, and I went to go get dinner after. And like I'm very shy around girls, but the server and I were kind of like chatting, and I was like, okay, I'm newly single, let's ask her out. And I went, hey, how old are you? She was 14. It was her dad's restaurant.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
I gotta leave. Luckily I just said, hey, how old are you? And like a girl, like I'm shy. I mean,
But that's fair for you not to know. I mean, girls you're getting their period at 11. There's hormones in the beef. A chick can have tits. A chick can have 25-year-old tits. This is not a bit I'm working on. And be 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking insane. We live next to a high school and a middle school. It's fucking insane what runs by here. Let's not pretend like those are tits. You know what I mean?
Do I have tacos in my
No,
teeth?
you're good. You're all right.
I just had this feeling.
But
like
Tasha, you probably were hit on. Like, I mean, it must suck
absolutely.
that you're getting sexualized at such a young. When did your ass come in? You know what I mean? Because that comes before tits in a lot of cases, right?
Yeah,
you probably
definitely.
had an ass at like 11.
My tits were late.
But when did your ass come? When did guys start checking you out? Like adults start checking you out?
I mean, definitely in high school. I feel like in middle school, I still looked kind of like gangly and not quite put together just right yet. But
it's still like a weird thing because no adult women are checking out some dude with an Adam's out. You know, some gangly looking like 12-year-old.
It's a lot more obvious with a guy.
It's so much more obvious.
Maybe not now. Maybe not. Maybe there's some high school.
Don't
kids.
get me wrong. There's high school guys that can like have a growth spurt and look older than they are, but like the fucking chicks that.
But I feel like facial hair is part of a thing. Like even guys that are like high schoolers still look baby face. High school guys still look baby face because they don't have like any facial hair or beards.
Right. And it's just so hard. So how did you get laid for the first time? How'd you set that one up?
Oh, it was just a girl that I had been. I've been online dating since before the apps. I would meet people on Craigslist because I'm
Really?
Fuck yeah.
I like the stuff with Joey really helped me come out of my shell. Like before then I was super shy. Like I still like I think it was been like one girl that I actually went up to at a bar. I was like, "Hey, like that gives me anxiety. I don't like that stuff." So
dude, your story is like literally could be like a rom-com or you know what I mean? Like dude comes out of his shell by working with one of the dirtiest comedians out there. You know what I mean? Like that must have been huge just to like liberate yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really do it on purpose, but like getting high on the internet for a living kind of just.
Now, did you ever get high before you started working
very,
there?
very sparingly.
If Tasha has 5 milligrams, she's
Well, she's also
done.
like 78 pounds.
She's done. 5 milligrams.
Thanks, I appreciate
I'm
that
just-
so
I'm
much.
I'm just setting this up for the non-weed edible people for what they know. Like, we just traveled across the country, flight, 5 milligrams, I'm good. What?
Really, 5 milligrams gets you.
Well,
high?
I had a problem once where I drank in the airport and I got the spins the whole flight. Yeah, with 5.
He was green.
Although I didn't know.
He was literally
I've been there.
green.
But how many? What's the most you've had on air? Because I've heard numbers, but I need to know.
Yeah, this is gonna. I only did this once, and it was with an edible that we'd had a lot of. So I couldn't do this again. But the most I've done is 3,000.
What?
I love that. I love when I tell people that. Yeah,
3,000.
Yeah. But honestly, like
I would not be okay.
your body kind of turns it off. Like I've
Okay.
been higher on like 1,000.
Even 1,000 is like insane for me to
I did
think
that-
about.
I
I
did that
do
a lot.
2.5.
But to show
How do you even do
to
that?
show the significance of
I
this,
eat a half a chocolate.
You could-
know how they come in
Wow.
squares.
you could argue
wow.
that like Rogan's the most influential podcaster of all time. It's just, it's probably not even an argument. He's he's the Oprah of podcasting, right? And I just remember listening to him laughing. They were laughing their ass off watching a video of you.
Oh, Lee in outer space. That's a
sleep-
very upsetting.
What's it called?
Lee's side in outer space. That's a very.
And it's
my
just-
mom's seen that. That's not a great video.
And it's just Lee. It's just a video of him just leaving his soul, just leaving his body.
That was a
What
lot.
did your mom think of that?
She's not too happy about it.
No?
But she. I mean,
And
that's why I started comedy. Is I really don't have any other options.
Have you ever done acid, like LSD or
Yeah,
mushrooms?
I've done it. I've done acid. I've done mushrooms. And
How does the experience compare to 3,000 milligrams?
acid's more? Acid's well. I've had light acid, and then sometimes like edibles can be more. But acid and mushrooms are kind of intense.
Yeah,
Like you kind of just feel like you're like I
out
don't
of
know,
control.
a little bit. It's. Have you done it?
I've done mushrooms. I've never done acid, but recently I was thinking that I would really like to try it. I would like to try it before I get
I don't
want to
be anywhere near. She needs to be locked up like in a zoo. For
Well,
this.
no, I need like what are they called? A guide? What are your guides called?
shaman?
Yes, I need a shaman.
Lee,
Nah, I don't need a
Tasha's
shaman.
Tasha's.
I need a coach. I'm one of those people that just like is highly coachable.
She gets a lot of anxiety. So when she gets high, she puts all of her energy into the anxiety of that high. Like we got really high once, and she tried fixing me. Like she was so high, but she tried giving me like honey.
No,
and she
because
was
I knew you were
spraying-
going to be useless.
But she was also spraying like these chemicals on me.
Okay, well there was a lot going on.
It-
Do
What
we
kind of
really
chemicals
want?
were you spraying?
She was
His roommate had scabies.
That's kind of gross.
Yes, and so
but
I
he
was.
lived in a garage. He lived in a different. part
Doesn't
of the
matter.
house.
He sits on your couch. He goes in your bed. So like you have to spray the couch with this stuff called permethrin, which is
Gilbert, who produces the Tiger Bobby Lee's podcast. I don't know if you've been over there.
Oh, yeah,
but
I haven't yet,
If
no.
you see him, ask him how his scabies are doing.
Why did he have
But-
scabies?
Well,
are you
because he lived in a
blowing him up?
garage. Who cares? Fuck
yeah.
him. He didn't wish me a happy birthday. Gilbert, are you listening? The fuck's going on? I will
Get it
find
together,
you.
Gilbert.
I'll fuck you up. And so she had this. Yeah, it's like stuff you're supposed to spray on your clothes when you go hiking. And she was spraying on my bare skin, and I'm like laughing.
Well, but I told you to get
High.
out of the way, and you were too high to move. So I just
been
had
there.
to spray over you.
so I'm not trying to deal with like her on any other drugs. And
acid
that's
can be a lot. I mean,
I want to
it's
have
fun.
that like mind-opening experience that
That
everyone
happens.
talks about.
it's the going up. Once you get over the top, it's actually a lot of fun. But like it feels like you're almost like on a roller coaster going up.
And like the anticipation is like scary.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just new. Like if you look at your phone, like on your keyboard, that's how I know I'm like the acid's kicking in because the letters fly away,
Whoa.
which is pretty cool. But I think I prefer acid over mushroom. I don't like eating mushrooms. They taste like shit. I don't.
we'd
and they're
have to
just
go into the
unpredictable. Like your dosage is unpredictable.
But yeah, so can acid can be the same way because if it's on paper, you don't know how much they actually got on that piece of paper, and if it's liquid, which I've had, then you don't know how much you're actually getting. It's all. I mean, obviously, be over 21, and you should probably be like close to 30.
My roommate in college, I won't say his name. Senior year, well, I shouldn't have said what year. My roommate in college dropped acid, and then our next door neighbor was the chief of police, and
Oh,
he ended up
Jesus.
fucking the next door neighbor's daughter, who
On
was
acid?
18 in high school. Yeah. So he was on acid, and the girl and we had a party, and literally this is like the shit. I mean, it's legal, but like this guy could have fucked our lives up. You know what I mean? Like my roommate was like growing weed in the farms and like had like harvesting
Jesus.
pounds of weed because he had it's Rhode Island. The farms inland are just like they just fucking grow weed. It's a weed. It grows easy, and he would like tug at it. They were horticulturists. They would tug at it to like distress the roots, which cause more nutrients to go to the buds. I mean, these dudes were fucking on top of their shit. But anyway, we're having a party and the door knocks and the next door neighbor comes over. Cause I guess if you're an 18-year-old female and you hear a party, you can just walk in and join that party.
No
like I
problem.
wouldn't have had the balls to walk into a dude's party. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I would never do that.
You don't do that. That's the thing. But that's like, well, that's a female privilege. Everyone's got different privileges. A female privilege is you get to walk into a party and fuck the guy who rents the house of the party. That's what you get to do. We don't get to walk into parties and
Woo.
fuck the guy.
Just what we always wanted.
But imagine that.
No bodily autonomy. But
Imagine that. Yeah, what can you do? It's a win or lose. But imagine dropping acid and then the teen neighbor comes over and fucks you. What
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't know
trip
if
is
I'd want
that?
to. I don't know if I'd want to have sex on acid.
No.
That's some crazy shit. Anyway, so I love that a lot of comics talk about like their low moment. They got into comedy because like for me, I got fired from like my job and I had nothing better to do. And yours, it's like you just did drugs on camera. Like you can't be Googled for any corporate jobs.
No, it's over. I can't run for any political office.
How did you even get involved in the podcasting game? Because I want to talk about what your ventures are, but like, did you just stumble into this, or were you 'cause in college? Were you studying film?
Yeah, I went to Emerson, like half the town in here. And I moved out here to work on TV, and I worked on a few cool TV shows, but they kept me on for the summer, which is nice because a lot of shows go on hiatus. And I had nothing to do, and one of the guys I was working with told me about Rogan's podcast, and I heard about Joe, and I've loved stand up for my whole life. Like I've always loved it. So I wrote to Joey on Facebook, and I said I want to work for a comedian, but I don't want to come off as creepy. Do you have any ideas? And we messaged, and yeah, it's been like 7.5 years.
That's amazing.
Wow.
8 years, yeah.
What an incredible sort of mentor for you to have, because
Pretty crazy, yeah.
It's wild. Now, okay, so you begin. I mean, were you intimidated because he might be the most intimidating comedian in the world? I mean, he seems like such a nice guy, but also like when you hear his stories, it's like you don't want to fuck with this guy. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna fuck with any. That's not my person. I'm not. But I was nervous the first couple times we met. But he was very. He's always been nice. Like the first time I went over to his house, I showed him how to post a picture on Twitter, and he called me an unadulterated genius. And I was like, "Oh, that's fun."
no, because it's good. It's good. We like to point out ways that people are sort of like self-actualizing with their life, and that's a way where like you literally reached out to some comedy pros asking for like help and being pointed in the right direction. And I feel like a lot of people that listen that want to get their life in a new direction or do things that are not traditional. It's like sometimes you gotta jump over that brick wall and make moves, and that's a huge move that you made. Like he's never gonna find you. Right,
that's true. And I got lucky in a couple ways because a lot of bigger comics will have their person already, so he didn't have anybody. But then I also got lucky because like a lot of people in LA don't want to pay for this sort of stuff. Like at most they'll pay like $20. And it's a joke that I've not even a joke, but something I've told him, which could come off as mean, but he likes it. Is I've done stuff in my most consistent client, and like the guy who works the hardest in LA has been a former felon who kidnapped somebody with a machine gun. like it's pretty crazy, but we've kept it, but we haven't missed a week podcast. We've done it. It'll be 7 years in September.
Wild. Yeah, I couldn't imagine like 6 or 7 years ago where he was at, because as a working comic, and again, I'm sorry, I don't want to make this about him, but it's by you being kind of attached to him, it's you have the chance to learn so much as a new stand-up comedian.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've been auditing for 7 years.
Yeah. And then you just come in.
But you're about to have your master's degree, right?
I wish. Sometimes I get upset because I've loved comedy. And people would always ask if I was going to do it. I just never thought I was that kind of funny. So I only started about 1.5 years ago. But I feel like because I've been lucky, I've gone to a ton of his shows. I've gone to the store a lot. Like I see how you write a little bit, and I've been able to see some cool shows. So I feel like it's better that I waited. Like I don't think I would have been ready. Like, because like sometimes I'm like, oh, if I had started 7 years ago, I'd be featuring on the road now or something. But I try to. Like I don't think I would have had the perspective or would have been as funny back then. So
yeah,
it's so
you
different.
learn so much by listening and watching.
It's so different now. Like a lot of people say that you got to get on the road as fast as you can, and then but so much hack shit works on the road. Like you might be doing Chuckle Hut in Indiana, and like they'll laugh at like premises before you even go to like, you know what I mean. And it doesn't mean you're not good. It's just like.
No, it does.
It's well, but it's like you might be a great comic, but like then there's so many road comics that are afraid to work in town here that live in LA. It's incredible how many comics that like have done big name shit are afraid to work in the cities because it's so cutthroat. And like to start in LA, because I started in New York, but I was only there briefly before LA. So like it's not one or like they're both kind of shit towns to start in because a lot of eyes are on you. But like you've got eyes on you from podcast listeners, but also some of the biggest names in the world who do stand up that are like, you know, they're probably rooting you on, but that must.
It's not. I mean, it's good and bad. Like that's why I try to. Like I really try to do. Like last year, I did, and a lot of it was at the fourth wall. But I did like 460 spots last year.
Wow.
Because I've been lucky enough to do some cool shows that a 1-year comic shouldn't be getting. But like one of the first shows I did was a booked mic in Hollywood. And I put it on Instagram, and 2 people came down, and they were real happy to see me before the show, and it didn't go that well. And after the show, they kind of like didn't even look at me. So I'm very careful about what I promote, and then I also
you have to be.
I want to do well because I don't want people to be like, oh, and I'm sure people do. People talk regardless, but I try to avoid people saying, oh, he's only getting this because of Joey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's and everyone gets everything because of help from other people. So it's like you're in the end, you have to deliver on stage. So no amount of help is going to get an audience to laugh. It's not going to help you at all. But it's also good. Like we've talked about the fourth wall a bunch. It's just because I only started going there like 10 months ago. So I met you like when I first started going to the fourth wall. But I feel like almost every podcast guest, at least the male podcast guest, we've had a string of female podcast guests. I don't know why, but like I'll never be accused of
it was Women's
under-supporting. Oh my gosh, we've had them all, everyone. Anyway, which is fine, but you know, every dude that I've had on the podcast has been fourth wall, like Dat Fan, and it's just a whole bunch of guys. Like it's a whole community I didn't know existed, and I lived right here. And now we do the show, the Mimosa Show, at the Hollywood fourth wall. Which,
is that close to here?
It's like a mile
western.
West.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
I did a 9-minute Lime scooter ride from here to Fourth Wall, which was amazing. I just get on Beverly. And
I'd kill myself if I got on one of those. Like,
bro,
they're fun. Have you ever been on one?
No.
I was afraid too, and I tried one, and it was really fun. It goes super fast though, but you don't have to go that fast.
If you see a pothole coming up and you're fucking going 25 miles an hour on this little
Does it
scooter,
really go that fast?
You can go 15
it's
flat,
really
but if you're
fast.
going downhill, it'll some of them don't have limiters, so you can go like fat. Yeah, you're going.
No.
But I got to Fourth Wall. 9 minutes later, it cost me $2, and I was it's $1 to unlock. I'm doing sales here for Lime scooters,
sponsored by Lime Scooter.
And then you can just drop them somewhere. I put like a good rock station on my headphones, and I was just fucking jamming out.
You probably shouldn't have headphones on though, so that you can like listen for traffic sounds.
If that's the way
do you go on the
to
street or the
safe.
sidewalk?
Fucking street.
Good Lord.
But on the way back,
technically, I think you're not allowed to ride on the sidewalk, which is so like LA needs to get over itself. No one walks in LA anyway, so just give the sidewalks to bikers and scooters.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bike. I'm getting a bike pretty soon, but I'm not gonna ride on the street.
No,
I don't know about you.
It's so dangerous.
Where I grew up, I rode on the sidewalk. I almost never rode on the street.
Yeah.
I would ride on the street until there was sidewalk.
Yeah.
But
okay, yeah.
Here, I took Beverly the whole way, but then on the way back, I was like, look, what? Because Beverly would make sense. This is so inside LA, but like it's a main road, so like it makes sense in a car. But I was like, I could have just gone one street over and been on a perfectly good side street. My my scooter is still going only 15 miles an hour. So on the way back, I kind of like zigzagged and like did it. It was way more safe.
Yeah,
because that way you can blow a stop sign.
And you're just like breathing in all that exhaust. It's so gross. I rode a bike in LA exactly one time and never did it again. And I'm still mad at Dave for throwing out my bike for selling it at a yard sale. But it was like I was huffing and puffing, and it was way more challenging than like I've expected it to be. LA feels flat, but it's not super flat.
Oh, the only reason I'm getting a bike is there's a bike path in the valley. like on Chandler, like that cuts.
So
through
it's safe. It's away from the
Yeah, I'm not-
traffic.
But what if someone steals your shit? I've had my bike in Boston was beat to shit. So even though it was locked up, homeless guys still try to rip off the tires, and I had a wobbly
Really?
roadster.
Luckily, my building is enclosed, so I'm just gonna bring it up the stairs.
Now, here's the one thing I miss about being single is we didn't have this technology when I was single, but I couldn't imagine the morning after getting laid, taking a bird scooter home with your fucking hair whipping in the wind.
I
and
saw
you
a
stop
picture of
by
you with
for-
long hair, by the way.
Yeah, you missed those
that
days.
was glorious. Why did you get rid of it?
Oh man, I couldn't do anything with it. I was just so typecast.
Really?
Yeah, like I couldn't. I
interesting.
wasn't a surfer, but I looked like I looked like a generic version of everything. Not a drug dealer, not this, not that. And the final breaking point was I went to an audition, and it was for a 1970s mechanic, and I was like, got long hair, I can do this. Everyone there looked like a greasy 1970s mechanic, and I just looked like some watered down dude with long hair, and I was like, I can't do this
Oh, that's
anymore.
crazy. Okay.
So I
Do you miss it?
well, the second I got short hair, we like booked a gig together, and like I'm more. I could go long again, but like.
But you feel like your personality, like your inside, is a short-haired person.
I like the long hair. I do. I liked it to an extent, but it went way.
I was just
long.
looking back at our wedding photos with your man bun.
You guys
That
are
was a
married?
cute look. No, but we have so many wedding photo shoots that
okay.
we've done.
Bro, fucking these weddings, man. We're talking about it, man. We're going to fucking Jamaica or someplace. We're getting the fuck
Not
out of
Jamaica,
town.
but
These people with their weddings, man. Have you even? You were in a long-term relationship. Have
Yeah,
you
for
guys
4.5
consider
years, yeah.
marriage at all?
Yeah, we talked about it.
All right, so walk me through this because when I met you, I feel like you just broke up, which is such a liberating thing for you.
Yeah,
there.
I talked about it. I was when I started at the Fourth Wall, I was like trying to like talk on stage about breaking up, and
Yeah.
then we broke up in January of last year.
So, you started talking about breaking up before you actually broke up?
Yeah,
You were like
Wait.
workshopping your breakup?
Pretty much,
by
yeah.
yourself, just at Mike's, or were you talking to her about it too?
no,
Oh, okay.
just by myself. She didn't. We went through like a month where like I was terrible. Like she's a great person. I still like her. She has a new boyfriend that's basically just a taller version of me, but kind of boring. If you hear this, that's what I think. But she wanted to get married. I had just started the stand-up thing. I really enjoyed it. And there were a couple other things, but mainly it was just like I'm not ready to get married, and we could have stayed together for a couple more years. But if I didn't see myself getting married, like what's the point?
Don't
Like,
waste her time.
Yeah.
It's still fascinating to me because I don't think, like, if Tasha really wanted to get married and I was like, I don't know. And again, don't read into this, Tasha, but like,
I'm definitely gonna read
Pretty
it.
soon Dave's going to move in with me.
Yeah, we got a fucking nice place. If we're like my like shit or get off the pot thing, I'm just way too laid back to be like shit or get off the pot. I'm like if you want, like if a marriage is if a wedding's really important to you, then I'm like, okay, I love you enough. Like, this sounds horrible saying, you know what I mean? But like, it's just like we've already lived together and do all these things, so it's fine. But like, because the guy doesn't get much out of a wedding, is my point, or a marriage.
Well,
We don't-
I would
we don't-
argue that women don't get much out of it either. Like literally, weddings are sort of like just a traditional thing that gets you like a little bit of a tax break.
Yeah, but women
and like
get
if
the-
you get hit by a car, then you can come visit me in the hospital.
But like, let's
Right,
fa-
yeah.
let's face it, women.
like that's literally the only reason people get
like
married.
the big trope and the thing that a lot of people
You don't even
complain
have
about-
health insurance.
Fuck, who knows?
Boy, I would get
Jesus
married for
Christ.
health insurance in a second.
Right? I got
Oh, yeah.
I barely have WebMD. Men are guilty in the past of like not committing, and then they'll just dump the girlfriend and get a younger girlfriend. That's kind of the thing, right? And the woman doesn't want to invest time with a guy, and then he gets another thing. You want to lock your guy down. That's kind of like how it is. Don't look at me like she's looking at me like I'm
Sure,
not.
but this is just kind of like a stereotype.
But my point is that I love you and I want to be with you. So like, why I'm like an in the moment guy. Like that's the downfall of this podcast or in my career is that I'm not looking 5 years ahead. I'm just like, well, let me just do what I can do this week. And that's how I am with the relationship. Is the relationship happy this week? I'm not looking too far down the line, but like, I know that's a thing that you want to look far down the line. So I'm like, all right, I got to start wondering about where we're going. We're on the same page where we're not like looking at kids anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like, so like it's nothing big's going to change, but like I want her to feel like she's got
secure
her
in
guy.
the relationship.
Yeah, not because I know how I feel, but that ring and a lot of that bullshit to a guy is like important because it says like my guy's not
stringing me along.
Stringing you
Yeah.
along.
There's that, but I mean, you guys are also kind of in a similar field. Like my ex was a lawyer, so she
Oh, wow.
she had a night. Yeah, well, I was gonna say I fucked up. I did, but she's a nice person, so she wants to be like a DA. She's not like the $400,000 a year lawyer. But she would leave every day at 7:30 or 8 and get home at 6 and want to just chill, and that's when I'm leaving.
Going out to my
Very tough.
So like it's. If you have a similar career, I feel like it might be a little bit easier. At least you understand.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this is what he has to do.
You need to date a waitress.
That'd be nice.
Like, I wish Tasha's job was at night, but you're right, where she's not like married to this 9 to 5 hour or whatever. There, she still works a lot during the daytime, and then at night I'm like, fuck. Like, if I knew Tasha was like the other night, I came home and Tasha wasn't here, and I was like, what the fuck, babe? Like, let me know if you're not going to be here. I would have gone and done a mic. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I would have used that time.
5 minutes away.
No. But and again, it wasn't about you. It's just like, let me know if you're not going to be here at night, because I will go support a show and do all this laundry list of things that, like, sometimes in a relationship, you just don't get to do. Like, comics in a relationship, you got to choose if you want to go support your buddy at Sycamore Lounge. You know what I mean? It's just like, it might be worth it to go, but it might be worth it to do date night because...
Right, and I just didn't want to I didn't want to be like, okay, I'll do one open mic and then I'll go home. Like, so a lot of times people are like, oh, let's go try this one out, or last minute you get asked to do a show, and I didn't want to have to feel bad, like, oh, we're supposed to go
sort
get
of letting
dinner and
her
watch a movie
down or
tonight.
feeling like you're missing out on like
Yeah.
your bonding time.
Right, yeah.
Now, how is it being like a single guy doing comedy?
I mean, it's the comedy's been great. I'm not really good at online dating.
But you got what's your, do you Tinder, or like, what do you do?
Very little. I mean, I do. They don't really like short chubby guys. So I haven't had a great year. I mean,
Short, chubby women probably get laid every second of the day.
well, they do, but they like tall guys.
Yeah, but my point is that what women don't understand is
They're
how
try to make average sized babies.
I know. That's why
But it's true. Women are the worst when it comes to like I think what's worse, being short? Height has to be the biggest.
Listen,
like,
I think that
disqualifier.
all of those disqualifiers are just like, and I guess I don't speak for everyone, but I feel like those are sort of like soft. It's more like wish list.
No, you're so full of shit.
Listen, you're not tall. You're like average height.
I would kill someone to be his height. I would kill you to be his height.
I'm on Team Leah. He would beat you with that microphone. I get it. Every guy's been literally pushed aside for a taller guy. My buddy Joel, 6'3", the pussy that he got, that literally walked by me like, "Hey, how's it going?" And it would walk right by me to his door, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?"
6'3",
6'3", tall, big chest, and he would hug when he met someone, he would hug them, and I was like, "They're touching your body. You're about
I'm
to
just
fuck
saying,
them."
not all of those chicks get to marry Joel.
Right, and it's weird,
one girl's gonna marry Joel, and then those 20 other chicks
get to settle for Lee. Is that what you're saying?
No, they go to you and then they go to me.
They're gonna realize they're gonna give you a chance, and they're gonna realize that he has other qualities that make up for him not being 6'3".
I'm definitely a long game guy.
All I'm saying is men don't look at a girl and go, "She's 5 foot tall."
I would love it. I actually, my ex was around my height, but a lot of the girls other than that have been tall. Like for me, tall like 5'10", 5'9". Like it just sort of happens. Like maybe because there's not like really like a lot of like they're tall for girls.
Yeah.
So like maybe some guys are like, oh, they're too tall. So like that's what I've kind of met. I've kind of hooked up with a lot.
But look, so like I talk about power, and again, this is the biggest. If you want to piss off women, you just say that they're attracted to power. But power, like look at it in a video game, right? If you're playing Madden, you can't be fast, tall. You can't be all of the things. You got to be a few different things. So like women are attracted to power, whether it's a guy's wealth or his like status in society, or power in the fact that he can kill somebody in the wild because he's a tall Norwegian guy. Like there's different types of power that women are attracted to. My curse is like right now is financially. Like what do I have to? You know what I mean? Like I'm I got to do a lot of dishes, Lee. You know what I mean? I got to clean up around the house because I'm not bringing in.
You could do them on your abs.
No, I can't. Trust me. No, I'm not this birthday belly. But like Lee, when you're out there doing your Comedy Central half hour, you'll be dating a 5'10" model.
That'd
you
be
know
nice.
what I mean? Like I'm just, and it's not because she's shallow. It's because you'll be on a stage where like the women that are that don't care about the physical stuff will be like, that guy's funny. He's got a good place in society.
Well, and like you say power, but it's also confidence. It's also like just being like so secure with yourself that you're just like jamming.
I don't know about you, Dave. I mean, How long have you been doing comedy?
7 years. Stand-up.
Okay, so before Tasha, like for me, when I talk to girls now, I just pretend I'm on stage.
Yeah.
I don't believe almost anything I'm saying. I'm not a very confident person, but like I've learned to like just kind of like pretend like I'm doing a
but
bit
that's
on
fake
stage.
it till you make it. We were just talking about that with Liz, right?
Yeah.
About like, well,
Is
and we
Liz
weren't
single?
talking about this.
She's gay, so and no.
But like there's science
Liz
that
Glazer,
proves
you know her, right?
if you stick a pencil in your mouth, it can make you happier because it like upturns the corners of your mouth.
Okay.
And the simple act of smiling when you're in a bad mood can put you in a better mood. And that's some of the idea for me of like fake it till you make it is like you just keep slinging like these sort of like confident jokes.
Right.
And eventually that becomes like your go-to in your everyday and your brain just moves that way.
That's true, but I'm also like I've had a lot of like friends who are girls because I don't know I don't like being like the whole like jerk. Like I've never been good at that, so like I kind of get pigeonholed as a friend a lot. Which
You don't
is
like
fine.
cross that line.
No, I try to, but at like a
Dude,
certain
it's tough, man.
at a certain point, if you've been friends for too long, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, you got there's like literally a quick moment where you've got to go, no. That's not how and you'll lose friends for sure. But
Yeah.
like also like friend zone's not something you walk into. Like if a girl decides that she wants to be friends, like she's going to find her friends. And if you fit those categories, you fit the category, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, like we were friends before we started dating and it took some recalibration, but that's what it's all about. So you have to calibrate the world you want to live in, and you might repel people, but like you want to be the charismatic guy who like walks into a bar laughing, and it's like, well, what if you didn't say something funny? Well, fucking say something funny with your guys when you walk into a bar, because trust me, a couple guys walking into a bar laughing is gonna look better than the chode who's like, you know, trying to like mean mug it. You know, mean mugging's
What
not
is
our game.
chode?
Chode's a guy who is a dick that's like fatter than it is tall. I think that's a technical term.
Yeah.
Right?
Is
Basically a
it? That's
jerk.
a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a, you know, chode. I don't know. I
Okay.
just haven't thought of that word in years, but
It came out of your mouth.
what's so funny is that Tasha doesn't understand like bro terms. Not that that's a bro term, but it's funny that we've dated for half a decade and you'd never heard me say chode before. But you know what the point is? Like a dude who's just mean mugging. Like you got to be Abercrombie
Somebody
level.
who's like so cool walking in.
Yeah,
and,
like that's
scowling.
7th grade dance shit where you just stand on the wall.
it's
and look
terrible
cool.
at
Like
7th
trust me,
grade dances.
I was the cool looking kid. Cool looking kid doesn't get you shit. I was a virgin as the cool looking kid. And then you start to like have a little like just have fun with the people around you and be in situations where you might meet. You know what I mean? It's complicated. Like you can't, like I always tell my buddies, like when you're single, like we can't go to the bar and sit at the booth. That's
Yeah.
not, no one's walking up to you sitting at the booth. Like you got to get out there and like seize the day.
See, I'm not really good at that. Like I went to a party like a couple weeks ago, and I think we lasted like 6 minutes at the party. It was I don't like large groups of people. Like I don't like people touching me.
Being surrounded. I know. I'm sort of the same way.
But the
I'm
best
always
thing
like
you
on
can
the
do-
outside of the party, like against the wall.
Yeah.
If you can
That's
carve
my,
out
like-
space that's like some space, but not, you know, there still has to be foot traffic going by you.
Right.
So whether you're standing wherever you are, you have to like when I was single, I was supposed to meet some friends at the bar and they were fucking an hour late. And like I was like, I'm not gonna wait in my car because I might have done that. And I was like, I'm gonna go to the bar.
Oh, that would've been me.
There
Yeah.
there was someone here and like someone over there, and I'm like, I'm gonna stand not in the center of the other two people, but lean to one side, leaving a pocket for somebody to stand next to me to order drinks.
And then what do you say?
And then somebody walked up
Hi.
next to me and they were speaking in an accent, and I just started like asking them what they're, you know what I mean? Like that's when you crowd work it. You have to, all you need to do is set yourself up in an opportunity to crowd work it.
Like that's a good point. Like I was at Ralph's last night, and I literally saw it was the most baller thing I've ever seen. I was walking in, this guy was walking out, and this girl was walking in, and this guy was like, just started talking to her. I was like, hey, how old are you? Like, blah, 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 how old are you? Take my number. And she did. I was like, oh, shit. Like, just the fact, like, I would never have the balls to be like, take my number.
Yeah. And that's probably a low success
damn.
rate because I feel like women hate being approached at like gyms and
And the
produce,
grocery.
but like it's somebody's getting laid from that, and it's not necessarily, it's not catcalling. You're
And
putting
even
yourself.
if like 90% of those girls never call that number, Somebody does.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people wouldn't keep doing it.
What
That's
happens
true.
with stand-up is you get to do your stand-up, and then afterwards, a woman can decide if she wants to compliment you or not.
Right.
And that's your in. And you should assume 100% of the time, if somebody's complimenting you after a set, they at least are interested in a conversation to see where it could go.
See, the only problem with me, at least for stand up, is with Joey. 95% of the girls are there with guys.
True. Or they're I'm sure you have a lot of female comics that are like want to be friends for, I mean, who doesn't want to be friends when it's all about networking?
Yeah, well,
and stuff?
it's not that I've had a chance, but I'm trying to avoid hooking up with comics.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't really want to have that issue.
Have you hooked up with any yet? You gotta go.
There's
for
this one girl who doesn't go to the fourth wall, who's kind of crazy, who I met on OkCupid, but wants to be a comic. But
oh boy,
that's
that's
a different terror story.
You
But
start mentoring her.
no, she's a little bit insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's LA. We forget that it's like Los Angeles is just. I had to go to the DMV today.
Oh boy.
And I went to the Hollywood DMV. It was literally gang members with like teardrop tattoos, and then old ladies with plastic surgery. It was the most bizarre experience of my life going to the Hollywood DMV. But you forget that like we live in a very kind of crazy town where everyone's kind of trying to do their own thing, and you're like a target because like you're part of like a cool, obviously.
I sort of feel like
podcast.
it's a genetic defect, like people that want to like leave their safe bet homes and cities and like go try and make it in Los Angeles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we all have, so it's like a cesspool of all of these people with this sort of like unrealistic.
Lee, if I went to like, Tasha's
expectation.
hometown in Kentucky, the chicks would be like so pumped to meet a guy who lives in LA. But I try to tell Tasha anything critical, and she wants to murder me.
What are you talking about?
My point is that like you are like a runaway. You're like a runaway who's like, don't tell me what to do. And then
what does
I'm
this have
dating
to do with Los Angeles?
because you made it to LA because it was like the last place where no one has to tell you what to do. Like the second you go home and your mom like, even like remotely tells you something to do, it's like, the eyes are rolling. You know what I mean? It's all, my point is that we're all scarred in a way.
It is hard to make the choice. Like I had a panic attack, not a full one, but like a week after I graduated college, I just got in my car and I drove out here, and I stopped in Connecticut and I pulled over because I literally had like my entire life in my car.
In the back of your car.
I had no place to live out here. Luckily, I had a job, but I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
It's crazy.
Like, but then like,
I love that you stopped 30 minutes from your home in Connecticut.
yeah, like right on. And I called my mom. I was like, "What's going on?" And I just went, but it was like,
it's part of challenging yourself though, and there is something that's like really fulfilling about sort of challenging yourself and then meeting those expectations.
yeah,
Like that's a really cool
And
thing,
going so far away from your home and your comfortability that you can't possibly fail because like there's no safety net. It'd be like learning to swim by just jumping out
Jumping
of
in
boat
the
in the ocean.
Yeah.
Versus being on the shore. It's like out here, it's like when I lived in New York, I was like, still a quick ride home. But out here, it's like you better fucking figure out your community. You better get your personal like shit in order to where like get your job. Like the second you come out here and you don't have a paycheck or whatever, it's gonna be lonely.
Yeah, you're gonna get eaten alive if you don't figure it out.
and it's different because like I said, like I'm kind of I don't really want to hit on a girl at a bar, and there's a lot of guys who I grew up with who are fine doing that, but they literally moved 20 minutes away from where we grew up, and they would never move out here.
Yeah.
So just some people are scared of different things, I guess.
I want to do a show with Lee at a bar, and we're gonna
Let's do
find
it.
some chicks.
Let's do it. Let's go
We're
right
gonna find
now.
some chicks, and they're gonna compliment Lee after his set, and be like, and some girls, I know exactly how it's gonna go. Did that really happen to you? That thing you talking about? And then Lee's gonna be like worried if like, is she really talking to me? And I'm gonna be in the background like, better fucking, you know what I mean?
Let's do it. I'll just put you in my ear like in the movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me what
I'll
to
talk
say.
to all of her friends. I'll just hold off the army. I'll talk to all of the friends. I'll wingman the shit out of it. I can be a very supportive wingman because I'm not threatening because I'm not trying to get pussy. So like my wingman ability, I used to think when I was like I was like, oh man, it's like no, I'm in the driver's seat of like, because then I get to hear the conversation afterwards. Like if you got like when my buddies go get laid and then the next day I find out about it, that's what guy friends
living
are for.
vicariously.
I had to pick up my buddy Ty in South Boston, right, the gay part of town. He just came out of the closet. He texted me one morning like, "Bro, I need a ride home." I was like, "Where are you?" He goes,
"Before Uber, yeah."
He goes, "Yeah, this is way before. This is 10 years ago." And he goes, There's a rainbow flag out front. Come find me." I get to South Boston, or like, was it Back Bay? Either wherever it was. It was like,
There's like 8,000 of them,
and it's just like a whole fucking rainbow city. You know what I mean? And then I found my buddy, and he kind of walked out. He's all disheveled, this wrinkled shirt, and this. I'm like, "Yeah, you fucked last night. Good for you." Like, it's a good. I don't know. It's a
gay guys they know what to do.
They know what to do.
God bless them.
Because
are gay girls getting pussy all the time? They must be.
No, they settle down faster.
Oh, okay.
Gay women move in with each other.
No, they just move into relationships
right
quickly.
away.
But I think that they still are like very bold about approaching or being approached.
So then what's stopping straight people?
I don't know. Hang up.
Guys are pretty bad at, and I always say it's you're not normally getting rejected for who you are. You're being rejected on your approach. I'd like tap on someone's shoulder from behind. Their fucking fight or flight mechanism is immediately alarmed.
Right.
And to me, I'm just like, I'm just a guy, but to them, I'm like potentially
a murderer.
Threat. Yeah. And like we forget that we need to like look, you know what I mean? Like there's so many ways men need to learn to disarm. But like we get this adrenaline because we're like, I'm gonna go. Oh, your buddy's like, go talk to. Okay, and you go, hey, I'm Dave, and they're like, whoa, you fucking. And then you're like, and then their friends are like cutting. They're doing that throat thing where they're like, oh no, this guy's weird. And it's like, yeah, you were weird, Dave. You got a little too excited.
The one time, like a month or two in, I did a show with Joey at the store, and then this girl started talking to me, but she wasn't even in. It just sort of happened. Like I thought she was in my show, so I had a little bit of confidence. But then she wasn't. She was in a different room. But then some guys who knew me from the podcast were hammered and wouldn't stop talking to her for like they thought they were helping me, but they were being creepy. They're like,
it so
yeah,
worse.
so
that's an inadvertent cock block.
Yeah,
right
it was
there.
Terrible.
What? Because they were like trying to help you get laid, but
yeah,
it was, like
they were putting
too obvious.
They were like trying to talk to her, like you should suck his dick, and I was like, this is not
no.
good. Yeah, they were being aggressive.
Oh, and that's the thing, man. Like I feel like trying to get laid it's kind of like comedy in the sense that if you try on stage to be funny, like really try, the audience is gonna sniff that out and be like, what a fucking hack. You just have to be that.
And the thing that I know, obviously women like sex, but the thing that I've learned in the past year and a half is like they like you like I used to like kind of like beat around the bush a little bit and try to be like romantic or whatever. They like the most success I've had with women this year is when I like pretend like I don't really want sex, like I'm not interested.
Interesting.
Or if I go just like, hey, do you want to hook up? And then like if you kind of like are trying to like date them or like be romantic, that kind of I don't know. I haven't had success with that.
Yeah,
like
I think romance kind of prolongs whatever you already have.
Right.
Like I never gave Tasha flowers to hook up, but like once we started dating, I'm like I just need to keep her happy. So,
right,
like,
well,
you know what I mean?
Say it with less enthusiasm.
I never was like, will you fuck me? Here, flowers. Like, no, I was like, you got to be like something that's like a sort of a catch. You can't just be like the hopeless romantic idea has really changed.
Well,
like,
I think it's about you, like, you're in the beginning, you're deciding whether this is going to be a hookup or a long-term relationship. And I think the longer that you like wait and like put in the work on getting to know each other and making sure you're compatible and all of that stuff, that sets you up for a successful relationship.
Right.
And so like if you're just trying to get laid, like then there's plenty of things you can do to do that, but don't expect this to be like a long-term relationship that lasts.
That's true.
And I have to challenge Tasha because she's never been told no in her life. Like you said, the first step is wondering if it's a hookup or a long term. First step for a guy is, are we going to hook up? Like for you, it's deciding what you're going to do with the guy. For a guy, it's like, are you even going to talk to me?
But here's the thing, and this is what I told you on the hike today. Dick is not in short supply. Like girls can get dick anytime, day or night, any day of the week.
What is that like? Is that just amazing?
Imagine having, it'd be like being rich. Why would you wouldn't have to work. Like if you can get dick all that, I almost don't want that because like the hunt that guys have is some of the most exhilarating bullshit.
Oh, I hate it.
Do you though? But like when you succeed, you're not like the next day, like, or you're not in the middle of sex going, I can't believe this is happening right now.
Like I'm more of a relationship guy because that's, for me, it was always be like the long game. Like I'm not the guy at the bar, like we're just going to go hook up. Like I'm the guy like that you work with. that like I'll make you laugh. We know each other for a few months. We go for drinks, and then maybe it happens. Or I'm the long game.
Now, why do you think that is?
Because I was shy.
Or just
no, I don't. I would love to go bang a different chick every night.
But you're
awesome.
saying like you're still. You know how it is. Like you kind of have to like become the next version of yourself, and you have to like what's it called, the molting? What's it called?
That's what caterpillars do.
It's like, I mean, and I get it because like I remember like I was such a nice guy. I was everyone's friend, and like sometimes like pussy's even like literally approaching you and you don't even know it.
Oh, that happened to me.
That's part of it. You don't even know it.
But the weird thing is like I feel like you kind of also have to know who you are. Like it would be great to have a different girl every night. But I also,
is that
I don't
true
like
to
bars.
like your soul, like
it would.
your
I mean, it is
intention?
sexually, but like I don't like going to bars. I don't like. For me, like if I like a perfect like night for me would be like either get high or not, fucking get some food, fucking watch a TV like a movie at home.
Bro, this sounds amazing.
Yeah, on like a comfortable couch. Like I don't.
We got a sectional here. If
Like
you want to hang.
let's do it. Like, that's why I'm better at relationships. Like there was this girl that I was hooking up with for like 4 or 5 months last year, and I was open at the beginning. I was like, "Hey, I'm not looking for a relationship." She was cool with it, and when it went downhill, she was starting to be like, "Hey, let's go out." I'm like, I to be honest, I really don't want to go to a bar and spend $100 on drinks. Like if we want to drink, like let's drink at home. Like that's just who I am.
Yeah.
So like for me, like even though I would love to go out and meet a different girl, like I went on a date at a bar a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what I like to do. So
and we also get that by going out with comedy, like for me, I never miss going to the bars because we're always at different bars. And shows.
So it sort of like fills your socializing cup.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like when I was in New York last week, I always go out with my buddies when I'm back in town. I never go out in LA just for some beers ever. If it doesn't have comedy attached to it, that's kind of like my free time out here. I don't have friends that aren't comics out here other than like Darren, but he's in a relationship. We don't just like go out unless like both of you guys are out of town. We'll go out. But like in New York, it was like, yeah, you'd go out, you'd hang out with, and I guess in New York, everything's out in public. Like it's just such a busy city. You just go places.
I mean, I'm going to New York for my first time as a comic in June.
Amazing.
I'm really excited.
Oh my gosh.
So much fun.
Oh, it's for comedy.
I haven't been in New York in like 10 years. I can't. I thought I wanted to live in New York. I thought to be honest, I've never really liked LA. I like it enough. I kind of have to be here now for work. But growing up, I was like, I'm gonna move to New York. Like I've always loved. I like taking the subway. I like being able to walk places. I know I'm chubby, but it's actually like that. I didn't gain. I gained most of my weight out here.
Same.
Absolutely, me too.
Dude,
well, I mean,
because you walk 5 times. You walk 5 miles a day in
you guys
New York.
gain like 5 pounds.
I put 15 on in LA. I lived in a 5th floor walk up in New York, and yeah, when I moved to LA, I mean, I've had to like
even if you're taking the train, you have to walk to the train.
I still like eat my emotions. Like I'll want to eat to reward myself, and I want to eat when I'm stressed out. So like I still have those things. I just have to force myself to literally like not, you know what I mean? Like I've got to like food prep. So I'm like when I do am overcome with that, I've got like something to eat versus like I'll just go to Chick-fil-A. Yeah, fucking love no. But I at New York, you're gonna love New York, but also like I think you're doing the right thing with having like getting your own fan base now, because I think the whole roadmap for being successful in comedy is 100% not applicable to our generation now. It's just not. You know what I mean? Like it used to be. It's not about going on the road and putting in your time. It's about like having people that'll come see you perform wherever you decide to be.
I am very lucky. I do have a lot of people that would be excited to see me, and like I just went to Vegas last week and I did 3 shows, and that was really cool.
Where'd you go?
I went. 1 was a hookah bar, and then 2 was the LA Comedy Club at the Stratosphere. Nice. That was great. So I'm gonna try to start doing that like once a month. Like my next is gonna be like either San Diego or Phoenix, like local stuff around here.
Go to San Fran.
That too. Like all that California stuff I can do. I'm still.
Dude, we should put a car together and go do Scottsdale and Phoenix. They have way more comedy clubs than we have. I'm crazy.
Totally down. I would love to be able to host more. I don't think I'm ready to feature yet, but my hope is in the next couple of years that I could maybe start featuring.
Well, you're doing all the right things. I mean, you can only you don't want to ever speed it up to the point where you're driving yourself crazy and you're wondering, why am I not doing this? Like whenever I think like, and again, I'm trying now. I'm 34, so I had my birthday. Everyone, please stop sending flowers. Or join the Patreon. That's what they can do. If you want to give me a gift, join our patreon.com/SAP. I'm trying so hard this year to be kind to myself. I am so fucking mean to myself. Nobody treats me harder than I do. Just fucking chill out. And there's always somebody who looks like they're doing better than you on social media. I don't know if other professions look at this and see like, because other professions don't know each other's salary or this or that. Like our currency is stage time at good clubs. Are you doing but you'll see like so-and-so's, and I always say this, like I always say the pet grooming place, but it's like so-and-so's got a spot at the pet grooming place. Why do I give a fuck if they're performing at a pet grooming place?
Right.
Why do I even care about this?
I do. I mean, I care. Like even if someone has asked me to do a show and then like the next month I see they ask someone else, I'm like, well, I thought we had a good time. Like why can't I be on, like, you can't be on every show all the time. You want it to be a committed
relationship.
Yeah, like every
we're
time.
the same way with that, with the like sensitivity towards, like, I got a friend who just asked me to do his show that he's been doing for like years. And then I was like, fucking, I'd love to do it. And then he's like, great, consider it a birthday gift. And I go, fuck, man. Like, I know he meant well, but I'm also like, why is it a gift that I'm going to share my talent on a stage for free? Like,
right.
We just live in, and it's just economics. We live in a city that's so overwhelmed with comics that would headline the road that are fighting for spots here. That it's like, you just have to understand. And I was telling Tasha this, like, if you know, like, it'd be like going to a casting where every fucking model in the world is trying to get that one shoot. Like I think with Tasha, she's at a place in your industry where like there's a lot of work going around. So like if you can hustle and do different things, but like we've kind of put ourselves in and again, these are all limitations I'm trying to overcome, but we put ourselves in this world where like there's only so many stages you can perform on. So like there's only so many shows with so many comics on those shows that it's like,
and most of them aren't paid.
Yeah.
Like I didn't make any money going to Vegas, but the other side of it is cool. Like a Vegas comic I know let me stay at his house.
Yeah,
he got me all the shows that I did. So it's like there is that good part about knowing about comics, but it's like if I was as an editor, I would never edit for free for like a long time. Maybe at the beginning when you really have to.
Yeah, you'd shoot photography until you learn how to do it, and then you would charge. But like with comedy, even like Joey Diaz was going to the open mic just to like work on shit.
Yeah,
you know, it's like because it's a little bit different. Where like a pianist gets to practice at home, we're trying to do it in front of live audiences because you need that feedback. Right. You'll never get your chops going as a host unless you're talking to some Puerto Ricans in the audience. Like you're not going to talk to comics you're just not going to get that same response from non-comedians. Tasha hates it when we get too deep into the comedy world. Look at her.
Did you see me glaze over?
I saw your soul fly away.
I started thinking about emails I have to answer.
You look like Leah had 3,000 milligrams a week.
A week,
literally,
a night.
you just had the same thing. But no, what? So like for me, I was like, why am I fighting to get on some of these shitty stages when like I'm also like really passionate about this pilot that I'm writing? Why don't I just spend more time working on the pilot? You know, and you know, like, and do all the things that are under my control. And LA, and I was saying this, like, the silver lining of the competitiveness of LA is that it's forced me to do things I wouldn't have done. It's kind of put me in a few desperate positions to be like, I gotta write this fucking TV show, and then I gotta write my next one after that, and like just not wait.
You gotta try a lot of stuff. Like I got someone who wants to be like my commercial agent, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
I want to try that,
dude. You'd kill it, man. Seriously.
That's what everyone says.
Killer
we'll see
character.
What happens. He's kind of being a pain in the ass with the he made me take new headshots, and then he's like picking them. But then like I'm trying to build a website, which is a pain in the ass. Which hopefully it'll be out this month.
Are you doing any self submissions or casting?
I did a little bit, but I didn't right now because I had a beard for like 5-6 years, and he's like, oh, I'll be able to do more with you if you shave. So now I'm trying to shave like once a week or something just to get used to it again because my skin, I have terrible skin, so when I shave like my entire face gets red.
I only can trim.
So like now like I'm going back and forth with that. I went on one audition from self submissions, and it was interesting because there was a bunch of guys who looked like me, and then there was a bunch of pretty girls. But to be honest, because sometimes guys hate on pretty girls because we feel like they have such an easy life. And in some ways you guys do, but then also I felt it was sort of like, oh, they also go through shit because at the audition place there were like 50 blonde girls who all look the same. And I was
all
like,
being judged on like who's going to
all-
look sexiest in the scene.
You do the same thing that we have to do. So it's everyone thinks that everyone else has an easier life.
Yeah, grass is always greener, right?
That's true.
Yeah. And in some ways, everyone's got it easier in some ways and harder in others. That's why I posted on Facebook recently about like, I posted, what are the types of privileges that aren't race or gender? Let's not make it, don't list race. And people were like, ass privilege, tit privilege. There's so many privileged people. You're like, Tasha, you got an ass. That's your privilege is your ass and your eyebrows. You have Tasha's got eyebrow privilege.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Whereas like a guy might have like charisma privilege or nice teeth privilege. Like it's always different. Of course, like men, like white men, that's a privilege that's like on top of whatever else you have. She's already like, but you're gonna tell me that so and so with her tits, that's not a privilege because she's making $16,000 a month on her Patreon. We know who we're talking
Good
about.
Lord.
You know what I mean? Like I've been fighting my ass off to get the YouTube going, and then Dre, who's a podcast guest, posts one lingerie video. She got 52,000 YouTube subscribers. Fucking kidding me?
You should look at the DM she's getting.
Yeah, right. She has to deal with a lot of dick pics.
Yeah.
But my point, where was I getting at there? Is that like we're all
16,000.
Jesus Christ? But she's like they're making a killing, and it's like fuck, man. Our privileges are all like different, but it like comes with like different challenges that we're all working with.
It's amazing like more girls don't do it. Like I'm surprised. Like, and I'm not gonna do a joke, but like I had a joke about like if I was a girl, I would have been a whore. Like just go for it. Like
just finger yourself nonstop.
Just webcamming.
I would be
like,
grinding down the banister, just getting off, just sliding up and down a banister.
Like I've thought about selling my underwear online to gay guys. I don't give a shit.
Every one of my remote controls would just be wet.
Yeah,
just sticky remote
Stop.
controls.
You're so gross.
But that's because that's what the way guys.
Do it
yeah,
for the money.
Absolutely. But women.
But yeah, you have good. you have self-esteem.
I got a girl who doesn't. She knows she's beautiful, but she's still Midwestern. So like she's not like went to Hollywood high school. Like some of these people are fucked up. You know what I mean? Plus now you're in your advanced age. You know what I mean? I'm not saying your age. I'm just saying it's advanced. We're at a place now
Late
where
20s.
like well, we're not saying ages because then I'll have to bleep it out after. But no, we're closer in age than that. We're not going there. Tasha's older than me technically, I think, in some circles. I had this talk with
by
her
maturity?
earlier. I was like, technically you're older than me now, even though I'm a couple years older than you. I feel like as the far like that old bit about how like you get to date a model because the longer you do stand up, the funnier you get, the longer she models. Never goes well. Never goes well. Not a good. They hate me. But anyway, it's you're not like a fucking person who's like at Dan Blazarian's parties using you know what I mean, like gray area shit. You don't do gray area shit. You model professionally. There's gray area shit models that are like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like where like you're doing the private Snapchat, and that's fine. We've had past podcast guests on that they sell their photos for good money, but there's all, you know what I mean? You've set your morals where they are, and that's where they are. You know, I told her before, and if you wanted to slip a nip during an episode, we could probably get a couple new subscribers, but whatever. What's kind of, you know what I mean?
That'll be on Patreon.
Yeah. You guys don't do that, do you?
No, we don't do Patreon.
No, but now we got to get out of here in a minute. But tell me about what you're working on with you're creating a podcast
website.
community?
Yeah, it's gonna be called the Podcasters Clubhouse, and it's for because like I've been consulting on podcasts for a few years, and I deal with a lot of not lower level, but just people who are anywhere and want to start a podcast.
Just say it, our level, lower level.
No. But like they don't. It's hard. It's super hard to find guests. It's super hard to know like what equipment to buy. So it's basically gonna be that. It's like half education. So I tell you what equipment I recommend. But then the thing that I think is gonna keep people wanting to be members is there's gonna be a forum. So like you can be okay. I'm in LA. We have the Sex Actually podcast. We talk a lot about relationships. If you want to be a guest, hit me up and tell me, like, just as a sort of a community for people, because even at higher level, it's really hard to find guests, and it's hard to find guests who are on time and don't cancel and
take it seriously, and people's like area of expertise too.
Right,
you know, there's no like black book or whatever that lists like people who are in this sort of thing and know about
I always say,
X, Y, and Z.
Like the better podcast guests we can have, the less they're going to promote it. And it makes sense. They've got their own shit to promote. If we have someone on who's got, like, the best case scenario we had was our friend Raquel Pomplin on. She's actually going to be doing our next Mimosa stand-up show, which, by the way, if you're around, I think it's going to be May 19th. You want to do the Mimosa show?
I don't want to be on my phone during the podcast.
No.
Sure.
If you can,
absolutely. If I'm in town,
if you're in town, we'll let you know. But so Raquel, she was
there must be girls there.
And Raquel's going to bring some good audience because she was Playmate of the Year and she started doing stand up. She's funny, like naturally she's just like she's a good person but she's like new. She's like newer than you. She's like,
how do you say her last name?
Pomplun. P-O-M. You want to Google her. She got a lot of nude videos online. I mean, naturally, as a Playmate of the Year.
Thank you for listening to the podcast.
As a Playmate of the Year, you get... But the point was, she's got millions of followers, and she was still really good at promoting our podcast. And I was like, oh, she's going to fucking make it in comedy because she's, like, not just working hard for herself. She understands, like... that you know what I mean? Like she gets it, and she's also been someone who's been like a cover model for Playboy. She's the first and only ever Mexican American Playmate of the Year. Like
wow.
and then so if you do our show on the 19th, you'll see her.
If her and I were to go out, I would quit comedy immediately.
She's married.
but she's got friends, and that's the point. You become friends with these people. All
the good ones are taken.
You want an endorsement. Why don't they have endorsements on dating sites? We should invent that. Where like you get Raquel be like, all right, Playmate of the Year, Raquel Pomplin endorses Lee Syatt.
Lee Syatt rock my world.
You get like a little bunny ears next to you, and it's like, well, Lee's been endorsed by Playmates of the Year, so swipe right on this guy. I think it's a fucking genius idea.
That is a funny idea.
You don't have to create an app now.
Yelp and Tinder combined. Someone out there, let me do it with you. Darren's
it's like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where you write endorsements.
Yeah. But this will be Yelp meets LinkedIn.
I should have gone to school for tech stuff.
I know. My buddy just quit his job to learn how to be an app designer, and I'm all right, let's fucking make billions. Let's do it. Let's just throw a bunch of apps at the wall and see which ones. It must be. I mean, I can't imagine.
It's hard now because there's so many apps, but
at least
one
with
hits,
comedy, it's going to be like years of hard work. With apps, there's that lottery. It's kind of like acting. Everyone wants to be a famous actor, but then once you see the process, I think a lot of people are like, fuck that shit. Like there's this like a litmus test to getting into it. Like, do you really want to do it? Like with stand up, you drive to Vegas or you drive, far away for a show. Sometimes nobody shows up. Do you really want to do stand up? And then guys like you go, fuck yeah, I do. I did New York Comedy Club and there were 7 people in the audience. I was like, I had a fucking killer set, but I can't use that tape because it's for 5 people and then the 2 guys sleeping in the corner. Right. But like, so like the tape's not useful, but like I had a blast. And that's like, I don't need to do the 400-seater. Like that would have been an even bigger blast. But
and then it's also like, be careful what you wish for because like, I don't know. I mean, the majority of people who follow me are nice, but just at my level. And like, if I let's say like I don't know, multiply the hate I get by 10,
it can be overwhelming.
I'm like, why? Like, why am I gonna put all this effort in to like get all? Like, it's like, okay, maybe I should just have like a job with no hate. No, I can't. But it's like,
how much of that hate do you get in person?
In person, I get.
It takes a lot of balls for somebody to shit on you in person.
In person, I get the. What's the passive aggressive? Like I had one guy put his arm around me at the store, take a picture, and be like, "Hey man, don't listen to what they say online. I like you." And I was like, "Oh, you don't really got to say that." Like,
yeah, that's a tough one.
Can you imagine how celebrities feel? Like, no wonder they disable their comments and stuff. Like,
or they don't have it,
or just like don't take photos with people because like I'm eating dinner. Like we don't have this problem, but like I couldn't imagine if I'm trying to eat dinner. Like even if we had kids and like you're with your kid and some guys like yells at you,
people feel entitled.
The kid doesn't know what's going on.
It's weird. Like, I don't have kids, but it's weird because at a certain point it feels cool. It feels cool to get recognized and be at a restaurant and someone like, hey, I want to take a picture.
Don't say it like you're relating to me. I don't know what that feels like.
You will.
We've had one person do that.
But it feels cool.
It felt amazing.
Thanks for recognizing us at the bowling alley.
Dude, he saw us. We were like, come take a photo. We were asking him to take a photo with us.
And like that part is cool.
That's not disrespectful.
Sometimes, but you got to be like, sometimes it's weird to like disengage. Like I've been stuck talking to people for like an hour at the Comedy Store sometimes by accident.
Yeah.
But then you also need them to come out to shows, and it's it's a weird it's something to
politics.
Get used to.
Yeah, you got to shake hands and.
But I'm lucky. Like I said, 99% of the people are very cool, and the majority of it happens at comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Like occasionally, like once a week at like a grocery store.
You're a pretty recognizable guy, though. Like,
You
if
know what
someone's
it
a
is?
fan, they're
It's
going to
weird.
notice you.
I was in Vegas, and I was standing next to somebody at a dispensary. They didn't say anything, and then as soon as I said something, they're like, "Oh, his voice!" Like they recognized the voice.
Oh, wow.
So then they're like, "Oh, it's Lee." So like it's
But that's important for the industry. It's important for for it's gonna be important for commercial auditions and like you're gonna be auditioning for like guest star stuff. You're gonna be you might look like you might look like the same type as everyone else, but like you'll be head of the line when it comes to
That'd be nice.
getting seriously, because like my biggest, you know what I mean, like where I come from, I look like every other dude who's like a quirky, good looking, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that to complain. I show up to the auditions and like, well, I'm not fucking any different, but then the Danny DeVito works. You know what I mean? The fucking, monster Game of Thrones dude, you know what I mean? Like there's just certain things that like,
oh yeah, that's the only reason I have an agent. When I went to his office, the girl meeting him in front of me was a little person.
Wow.
And he said, the only other fat guy I have has red hair and it makes him look scary. So I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's do it.
They fucking, you gotta, I mean, it's in Natasha, with modeling, you get people like, oh, your hips too big. Like they're so quickly to not talk to you like you're a human, but I guess you just learn to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. It's especially for work. Like, I feel like commercials are kind of, because I'm not an actor. I've never acted in anything. Commercials are kind of like hitting the lottery. Like, especially if you get a good one. Like, if you get like a national, like a Pepsi commercial, it's pretty fucking crazy.
Tasha's touching this thing because of the sound. It's fine. I can remove it in post.
It's annoying me.
Yeah, and we'll take your ears off. We're 72 minutes in.
Can you just lean forward and block it with your body?
Does it stop when you touch it?
No,
Lee
it
thinks
does.
you're like hitting this, like you're silencing him. She's like, you guys, what do you use to record? Like, what's your expertise with like?
No, I use that for the stuff I do on mobile. Yeah,
it's great for like little on the go. So many people like in the Reddit community are talk about their podcast gear, like trying to upload to the next best thing. And I'm like, some of my best podcasts I did out of like a coffee shop with my H6.
Yeah, I mean, there's always. With tech stuff, you could spend $10,000 or $100,000 on a studio, try to make it sound like NPR. But like the cool thing about this is, you could take it anywhere. You have a podcast studio wherever you go.
And in the end, when you export it to, you use Libsyn, but whatever your hosting site is, they kind of shit on the quality anyway. Like it kind of like equals out in the long run. I don't know, but so how can people start signing up for your community, or how's it going to work?
Yeah, if you go to the podcastersclubhouse.com right now, you can sign up. And you actually, if it's good to, when is this going to come out?
This will be out Monday the 6th. Yeah, Monday the 6th
of May.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So right now we're in the process of like just finishing up the design. So if you sign up now to like give me your email address, like I think you get like 25% off. But it's gonna be cheap. There's gonna be 2 levels, $5 a month and $8 a month.
Nice.
Because I really like, that's the thing, is I want to create a podcast community. I'm not trying to go out and make like obviously I'd like to make some money off of it, but I'd rather have more people signed up than less people. Like the more people there are, the better. So
you want to make it easily accessible.
Right. So for $5 a month, like, because for a while I was thinking about opening up a recording space here in LA, but between rent and buying the equipment, I would have had to charge like $150 to $200 per podcast for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't monetize
really
your podcast till you know what you're doing. Like, it's till you get to that top level.
Right. Yeah. Like, you might do it once or twice, but then you're like, I could have bought a Zoom for $400.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is something that as a podcaster, I see I would say for $5 a month, I would do it. And
podcasts are already spending money I mean, that's the problem most people make, is that they'll spend the money on the gear and think that they're just going to put something online. And there's like, you of all people should be very valuable, like what sort of advice you have, because you have been a part of the community. I mean, I can't even imagine 7 years ago. I started listening to podcasts right when I got into comedy, and I was still like, I didn't know what they were really. I had to kind of like figure it out. And now it's like, ridiculous, like the leap. We'll look back at this decades down the road, touring comics, as like getting into something while it was still like new, underground.
Oh yeah, I remember I used to have to download it on my computer and then connect my iPhone or my iPod with USB and drag it over. Now a lot of people just like no one downloads it on their computer first. You just stream it on your phone.
Yeah.
So it's grown a lot, but it's also like super saturated.
So saturated.
It is hard to get started. It's only going to be
people spend
harder.
hours getting something going, and then they get 7 downloads, and 5 of them were from their iPad.
Oh, dude, I did one. I worked on one for a few weeks with someone who had 100,000 Twitter followers, and they got like 800 downloads.
Yeah.
So it's like
it doesn't translate always.
The main thing with this stuff, and I mean, you guys have been doing it for a while, right? How long?
This is going to be episode 335. So
wow,
5 plus years. But I'll say this: I've been guilty of just like focusing only on the actual creative end, doing the podcast, and not focusing on cutting up clips and putting them on YouTube and like getting into new communities. I mean, like I just signed up for a relationship based community on Facebook. Like I should be in every dating, sex, pickup artist Facebook group and like be promoting, not like blatantly promoting, but like be active.
No, I mean, like the hard part with this stuff is you can either grow it slowly. But the real way to get noticed is to have people on your podcast who can promote it, and then you have to be a guest on another podcast, because then those people already know what podcasts are, and they're like, "Oh, I liked him. Let me go listen to that."
Right.
Like, there's just so much now. It's like that. A lot of people when they first start, they're like, "Oh, I should get a Facebook ad." I'm like,
oof, yeah.
Unless you're Dwayne Wade, I'm starting a podcast. I don't think a podcast ad for someone who no one really knows.
You're better off paying a guest to be on the show, which is probably still a horrible idea because I feel like people mail it in. But like it's at least better.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've never paid a guest.
But the hard part is like it's like
am I getting paid for this?
Yeah, bring it in. We got balloons. Want a balloon? You can pet the dog.
Okay.
Yeah, like we've had guests on that then haven't come back because they kind of blew up, and it's like I get it. You're doing bigger podcasts. Like I get the fact that like everyone in LA's got something that they're trying to get out of other people. That at some point, like Kate Quigley's not going to do my podcast again because like she's doing. You know what I mean? Like podcast with a much bigger following. So like to use a real person who's a very nice person as an example, why would, or like my buddy Trevor's blowing up on YouTube. Like it's going to be hard for me to get him because he's like hugely viral right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like so outside of
more available to you, but it's also the thing. Like the thing that I think people focus too much on with podcasts is as tough as it is like the numbers. So like. Yeah, it would be great to get a million or 100,000 downloads, but if you guys do it every week and get 500 downloads an episode, let's just say 500. It doesn't sound like a ton, but that's 500 people,
consistent, loyal listeners.
Yeah, that will buy all your shirts, and come out to see you wherever you're doing a show. It's like there's a lot. Like if you look like the people who buy followers on Twitter.
No chance.
There's really no point. Like, what's the point? Like, oh, it looks good, maybe.
And you can tell right away because we've had some people on as guests that have hundreds of thousands of followers, and like, we don't get a blip out of it.
Yeah, or if they like, I always look and like they have 200,000 people on Twitter, but they get 8 likes.
Yeah,
like
versus someone like you, like or like a homegrown, like someone with 20,000 followers, homegrown can get a lot more traction out of that.
100%.
But also like so like we're starting to think of ways that like how are we better, like what's the term, like the sum is greater than its parts, is that like how, like I would love it for Tasha and I to do people's podcasts that are comics that are married, because I would love to get their like therapy of how to make this fucking thing work. You know what I mean? Like that's something valuable to me, whether it's like on theirs or them on ours, to have like, because we've used it as like a way to interview and meet new friends, like as a sandbox, but also as like a therapy, because you get people that like have figured it out, and you can figure out your personal happiness with your comedy success, but it requires a lot more enlightenment than just like the narcissistic get a lot of people say you need to be single for the first 15 years and blah blah blah, and like sure, that worked for Seinfeld and Chris Rock and they're amazing, but also like you should be able to balance your whole life because you only get it once.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, like, there's been times over this past year and a half that I can go out and do any open mic I want or any show I want. But then, yeah, it's lonely sometimes. Like last night, I went to go see Avengers by myself. It's not
We would have
great.
gone with you.
Nah, I actually like
You had a blast.
because I wanted to go see it in Vegas, but there were 3 kids sitting next to me and then a dog in the theater, so I wanted to kill myself.
What? There was
Oh,
a dog
no.
in
Yeah,
the theater?
and I love dogs,
Jesus Christ.
but I'm also an alone person. Like I like being alone, but it's also
That's Tasha. You guys are similar that way.
yeah. We'll be alone. We can be alone together.
Yeah.
That's why I tell her we have like we have the smallest apartment with the biggest couch. We can sit at opposite ends of the couch, and she's happy as a clam. Like
Yeah.
she's like sort of likes me in the apartment, but not next to her. Like
Right.
that's her
Yeah.
level of introvertness.
It is nice to like have someone to come home to. That I mean, so yeah, it does professionally probably make things a little bit less stressful to
Yeah.
be single.
And people
but
can
your life
only-
is gonna be
people can only give the advice that works for them, so I totally get it. But like I was scared that I would have preferred to become a headliner before we started dating, but it doesn't work that way. You're lightning in the bottle. You know what I mean?
You don't get to pick and choose. You can't wait around for everything to be perfect before you like live your life. Your life will end up passing you by.
Is like how great is it that we get to like grow with each other in both our career. You know what I mean? Like you get to see like Tasha actually came to my when we were friends. She came to my first show ever.
Oh,
in
nice.
the Belly Room, first show ever. She came with her boyfriend, which I was just happy that someone came to my show. But like you like talk about it's a slow, long process, but you get to be there for the good, the bad, this and that. And it's like that's kind of our blessing where we are now. And if people can be single and just dedicate if they can dedicate all their time to their selves and their careers, that's good too. It's just whatever works. I'm not trying to say one's better than the other, but like I am attracted to seeing the comics that like the Seguras and the comics that are like married, make it work, and sort of like live that life, because it is a little bit of a gypsy lifestyle. But like if we had the following that could take us on an airstream around the country, we'd be cool. Like fucking do it. Like, you know what I mean? We're not married or attached to this town or some other place. It's all about like that
Right.
travel lifestyle. It's just like not there yet. Like we're still building that sort of army. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We got to get out of here because it's actually you got a show to get to.
Oh, I do.
And anything you want to promote aside from the
just follow me on social media. My name is Lee, Lee, Syatt, Syatt. The website, the Podcasters Clubhouse will be coming out soon.
I'm excited for you with that.
Thank you.
That's going to be a ton of fun. I'll make an announcement also on this podcast when it's up and running.
You know what I'll
give
do
you guys a
is
shout out.
I'll let you guys know. I'll hit you up and I'll just give you guys like a coupon code for all the SAP listeners.
Absolutely. I would love that. We have a small but loyal premium following of for our Patreon.
Yeah, you make soap, don't you?
Well, that's what we can give you, some fucking soap. We'll give you some soap. Oh, you're gonna love our soap. You'd be good on your skin. Lather it up, coconut oil. Really good. Put it on your balls. It's peppermint soap. Tingles. Tasha, she'll never understand this, but people that have got our soap, they use it on their balls. It's a good thing. But
you should market it just for balls.
Ball sack soap. I got 2 balls of soap that goes in a loofah. Ball sack soap.
Nice.
That's what's gonna make me rich. Get that ball sack money.
Get the web address. What is it?
Ballsacksoap.com.
Yeah.
Ball
soap.
Ball sap soap. Fuck. We're onto something. But yeah, anyway, so we've got 14 people so far that are joined that. But like, it's cool to have even a sliver of your following start to join the premium stuff, because it does make a difference to like show that
so
loyalty.
much. We really appreciate
If you want to see a picture of my balls, go join their Patreon.
Lee's balls are on my Patreon.
That'd be really funny.
Whatever it takes, man. I'm not Lee's balls, Tasha's tits. Anyway, thanks so much for being on the pod. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'll let the audience know if we can make that mimosa show work. Definitely do it.
Yeah.
And
We'll
then I'll let people know.
I don't want to look at my calendar.
Yeah, it's a few weeks away. If you can't make that one, do the next one. I try to have the whole
I like
lineup.
mimosas.
Yeah, there you go. I try to have the whole lineup be past podcast guests, so we have all of our friends on. But thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.